subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Relationship Monday, and our topic for today is the consequences of ignoring red flags, part 2. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio. Allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Rizal and I discussed the consequences of ignoring red flags, part 1. Go to Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "A mistake repeated more than once is a decision." Here is your trending topic for today. Former President Donald Trump has landed in Miami to meet with his lawyers ahead of his Tuesday court appearance. He faces a total of 37 counts in a federal indictment related to him handling classified documents after he left office. He is the first former president to face federal charges. Trump, who denies any wrongdoing, railed against the charges at a campaign event on Saturday as he vowed to stay in the 2024 race. The White House has declined to comment as Trump and his allies paint the case as politically motivated. The indictment details where Trump allegedly stored classified documents at his estate in Florida. The charges come just months after he was charged in a separate hush money case. Those are your trending topics for today. We are so grateful for our sponsor, Emanuel Church of God in Christ, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel COGIC at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel COGIC-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson, and we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
Co-hosting with me is none other than our cancer activist, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Gal Foundation, Rizal Gilmore, aka The Biz. Hey, Rizal.
Hey, Lady ReShell. How are you?
What's up?
Another day, another opportunity.
I know. I'm so excited for the show. It's always great when we can have a part 2 of the show.
I'll say this must have been a good one for the part, because usually we don't do part 2. So for this to come up for a part 2, must have been really good.
It was good. That means we had stuff left over that we didn't talk about. The topic was juicy. So, sometimes we just indulge a little bit more than we should on one particular subject. And so here we are in part 2, talking about ignoring the consequences of red flags. Why someone would do that, Rizal, I don't know. But we're asking that you share the show out with individuals that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. Now, on the last show, we did discuss, we discussed quite a bit. We discussed talking about the lack of boundaries. And you can find yourself dealing with the consequences of red flags when you don't set up boundaries. We talked about jumping into a relationship too soon. Physical health suffers when you're dealing with or ignoring red flags. Sometimes people are just afraid to address the issues.
All right.
A fear of rejection. And people allow themselves to be manipulated. If I can say the word. So those are the things that we talked about on part 1. Hey, Lisa, thank you for tuning in. So we're going to dive right into part 2, talking about the consequences of ignoring red flags. And we're going to kick it off with, you become a shell of yourself when you do not address these red flags. I can really testify to becoming a shell of yourself when you don't testify to these flags. You tend to and it goes back with not even addressing them too. When you're afraid to address them, and it's not that you don't see them, you don't feel them, you just don't want to address them, and you kind of just go within yourself and be like, you know what, it's not that you're not going to stress about it, because you're stressing about it. In the inside, you fighting with yourself, but you become kind of intimidated about what's going on with the red flags, and you're afraid to address it because go back to rejection, a fear rejection. You don't want that person to say, well, since you're complaining so much about everything that I'm doing, then maybe we don't need to be together. So you are not going to normally react the way that you do. And you would kind of just like retreat inside of yourself and not be who you are. Again, you're a shell of yourself.
Yeah, but you should be able to express your feelings, your emotions, and all of those type of things with your partner. And if you're afraid to do that because you're afraid of rejection or what he might say, then I'm just going to say maybe you're not with the right partner, or communication definitely needs to be a lot more on point. Because you're going to keep it bottled up, and at some point you're going to explode. It's going to look like it was just been drama from the very start. So yeah, being in that shell or being to yourself because you're not trying to cause or make any issues or ignore those red flags that you know is there, is going to put you in a more it's going to put you in a worse state than what you are.
I totally agree. And Lisa just gave us one. She said, misery is the ultimate consequences of ignoring red flags. Ooh, that's so true.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm sorry, I really feel like you're doing it to yourself by not addressing the red flags. You're creating this misery for yourself, because had you addressed it, and I thought about red flags and deal breakers, right? So red flags and deal breakers are totally different things. Red flags are things that you can address. You can address, give that person a chance to change behavior patterns. The deal breakers are, nope, I am not dealing with this at all. I don't care if you do change your behavior, I'm out. So think about it that way. Think about the red flags being something that if you address it with this person, the behavior should change.
Now, what if, because there's always a chance and a possibility that you see a red flag, but you continue on with this individual and things do change. That red flag is no longer a red flag. It's been, like erased. It's turned another color now. Maybe it's a green flag now, and everything is on go.
Or it could be a yellow flag that you kind of like, okay, let me just see what's going on. They're not quite
caution.
Ready. Yes.
Usually yellow is caution.
Mm-hmm. And that would be after you address it. So after you address it, you would proceed with caution. You would give that person the benefit of the doubt because you had the conversation.
So then at what point do you think will it turn green or it go back to red? Because usually go from yellow to red.
Once you see that change behavior, once you see that this person is actually putting in the work to change their behavior, then you can say, all right, let's get off this green. Get off the yellow and go to green.
Okay. Green, yellow, red.
Yeah, it's all in that change behavior. And you think about it, some people could do the behavior change for like 90 days. This is something that, and it has to be obtainable for that person. Don't put something in place that's not, reachable for this person to do. And you set them up for failure, but make sure it's something that is obtainable for them in the long run.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that's a good one.
Consequences of ignoring red flags is you are loyal to, or you become loyal to the wrong person. This could be scary.
Well, let's let's talk about who's the wrong person. Are we talking about a group of girlfriends? Or are we talking about an individual that you want to put your trust in? Who is the wrong person?
The person that you're dating or you're in a relationship with, that you're loyal. Well, yeah, I'm talking about the person that you're in a relationship with.
Okay, so
We're
the
talking about
person
the people that surround them.
Well, yeah, I mean, because if you're dating a guy and he's really not the right person to him, but you're still trying to show him that you are a good fit for him. Every time when you try to, it's like trying to put a circle inside of a triangle. It's not supposed to fit. You keep forcing yourself in places where you're not supposed to be. And that's why it's not going to work out and why he's the wrong person. And you have to realize that the value that you hold is more important to you to hold yourself than it is to be loyal to this person who is possibly wrong for you. If that makes sense.
It does a little bit. It does.
I was thinking and talking at the same time. I could multitask.
I'm sure somebody got it. That's okay. I'm thinking like you with this person and you're loyal to this person, but this person is treating you like crap. Like they're no good for you at all. We talked about you having health problems, mental problems. They're adding to all of that and everything. I almost feel like I'm talking about a narcissist. Like everything is all about them.
Yeah. But if you're allowing that to happen, and he's the cause of it, why are you there? Why are you staying? Why are you going through it? Get yourself out of it.
Great question. Kenya said that happens 65% of the time.
Wow, that's more than half. That's a lot.
That's a lot. And I think a lot of times we're loyal because we put in time. Like we put in time with this person and we feel like we have history with this person. And then when you do, you feel like that's a cause to stay through anything.
Yeah, but how much time can you put into a person that you're just like trying to get to know? Like you can't put 100% in right from the beginning when you meet the person, especially if you see the red flag. Unless this red flag came 10 years later, then I can understand. But if it came 2 weeks later, that's not enough time that you put in to, I'm going to stay. Nah, get yourself out of it, because you shouldn't be that too attached just yet within 2 weeks that you can't get up and leave.
What about somebody that's in a relationship?
About the who?
What about somebody that's in a relationship? You knee deep in this
Well,
relationship.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if they've been in it for a long time, somebody who's been in it 10 years versus somebody that's been 10 weeks, you got enough time to say, wash your hands, be done with. I mean, even a person in 10 years, if it's been that much, the relationship's been cruel to you, or this person just haven't been the right fit for you for all this amount of time, you should have been realized that flag has been there. You just sitting there looking at the flag like the flag on the golf course. You holding it by that time.
So that kind of ties into our next one,
wasting time.
That's the consequences of you ignoring this red flag. Let me read Lisa's really quick. She said, I agree, leave early on before you become too attached.
Right. Because it makes it harder for you to get out. Because he's going to show you some good. He's going to show you a little bad. And then you're going to weigh your options, the pros and cons. And you may say, well, he do more good than bad. But how bad is the bad? So, yeah, get out while you can.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, the faster you go and the faster you move in a relationship, you're going to miss some red flags. If you're moving really fast, you're going to miss something. And you're going to waste time.
Absolutely, because what they call you're blinded by love, and you can't see everything around you. You like the horse with the blinders on the side. You can't you can't see it because you're just like, oh, he's perfect for me, and you got the big puppy dog eyes running through the daisy field, and you see no wrong. You may feel it, but there's definitely something there, or it's going to be coming down the pipe.
Yes. Kenya says, and we do that a lot, hoping that this person will change or become the person we want them to be. Yeah, and you setting yourself, both of y'all up for failure, really, because you already seen the red flags, and you know that this person is not who you should be with, but yet you stay trying to change them and hoping that what you're doing would work.
I've always said if I have to change anything about you, you're not the person for me.
That's true.
And I think a lot of women get into relationships thinking they can change the man. Men get into relationships hoping the woman won't change.
What was the purpose when you met that person? It was something that you liked about them when you met them. Why would you want to change that when you already like that person? I don't understand it.
As time go on, and like you said, you start to see the true colors of a person. It's like, well, wait a minute, what did I get myself into? You wasn't acting like this a couple weeks ago. You wasn't saying these type of things. You wasn't treating me this type of way. You was doing everything what needed to be said and done to get me home.
At that point, that's just a clue for you to go. Just go about your business. Okay, so seeking validation from this person. You seek validation from the person that's treating you less than what you should be treated like in a relationship. This person is contributing to you being sick, having mental issues, wasting your time, but yet you seek validation from this person. You want this person to love you. You want this person to choose you.
What is this person going to validate? What are they going to confirm in your mind that, yeah, you made the right choice? I'm making you ill, sick, and all these things. You made the right choice by choosing me to make you sick. What is there to validate?
I was thinking about when we talked about last week, that we talked about Derek Jackson and his wife, and she talked about them getting married and having issues before they got married. And she said she felt like she won because he chose her, he married her. And she felt validated by him choosing her, even though he was still having relationships with these other women. She felt that he validated her by choosing her, which he really didn't choose her, but she felt like she was chosen.
All he did was give her a peace offering to just shut her up for a little time, for a little while or whatever. That definitely wasn't validation. That wasn't love. That wasn't any of those things. That was just like, it was like hush money. You see where Trump is with the hush money right now. He gave her a little peace offering to keep her quiet for a minute.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Lisa says, if we are honest, we are uncomfortable in those situations, but low self-esteem causes us to become paralyzed. Oh, that's so true. How did you get to that low self-esteem? What happened that you got in this relationship and now you have this low self-esteem and you don't want to move? You feel like, no, I'm going to stay here. I don't feel like nobody else will want me.
I mean, I see a lot of low self-esteem, and I also see a lot of lack of confidence in women these days. I don't know if it comes from, everything always starts from home, from the childhood. That's what they always, it's the childhood. So maybe there was some things in some people's childhood, but as parents, we try to raise our children the best that we can to go out there and, to make good judgments and hopefully better judgments than that we have, to build themselves up. Hey, you can do it. We're always rooting and cheering them on, never putting them down. Well, at least some of them. I know there are some parents that they just ratchet. They just always tearing them down. Uh-oh.
She did mention about her father not spending time with her, not wanting to form a relationship with her, nurture a relationship with her, and that kind of contributed to her having low self-esteem.
No.
Lisa said prior baggage causes low self-esteem. It does. It really does.
So my relationship not going right, it's my daddy's fault. My relationship ain't going right. My mother she did me wrong. It's their fault.
I feel like we learn how to be in relationships by what we see. And what we see first about relationships is what's in our household. And if those are dysfunctional, then when we enter into relationships that are dysfunctional, we think that it's normal. We think that it's normal for this person to be talking down at you and making you feel bad, for this person to be treating you, any kind of way. We feel like, oh, this is right because this is what I've seen at home.
You are a model from what you're modeled from. Yeah.
But
I can agree with that.
Yeah, but then once you get out into the world, you start learning, educating yourself, then you start to see, I had a dysfunctional example of what a relationship looks like. And then hopefully you can make adjustments to not, make some of those mistakes that your parents made or whoever
Right.
those examples were in your life.
That's why communication is important, because we have too many broken homes as it is, where it's just the mama always raising the majority of the time, the mama raising the child, and that's what they see. So they never see no togetherness. I mean, I was lucky to have both my parents in the house. So I see what, my father did, and I see what my mother did. As they grew in their older age, they were old, senile and dementia and all that. And the fights did start to set in to the point where they were sleeping in separate bedrooms, and mama bust him in the head with a hammer, and he thought she was up there But you know what? That was in their latter years. But the beginning, when they was young and they was, like things were there and it was clicking, they were good. They were a very good example for me to see. But I've seen some other stuff, I have other relatives and other friends, and I see how, just because they was in that environment, it's all about who you surround yourself with. Dysfunction is going to follow dysfunction. Birds of a feather flock together. Doesn't mean you have to stay there or be in it. Just because you grew up in dysfunction doesn't mean that your relationship has to be dysfunctional. So.
Totally agree. Kenya says, I'm telling you all that some women think like that song, having a piece of man is better than having no man at all. Ooh, you're not going to get full off a piece of man. You need the whole man.
100%.
Ooh-wee. You need the whole man. Don't settle for a piece of man. Lisa said, we accept it. We accept that it's normal, but we all know what feels good and what does not.
Exactly, Lisa. And that's all I'm saying. If it don't feel right in your soul, that's when your woman's intuition need to kick in. If it don't feel right, then you know it ain't right.
You already born with this personal warning system inside of you that tells you when something is not right, but we ignore it. We compromise with it. We want to be able to be like, oh no, that's not true. Like, you really talk yourself into being crazy when you ignore what you're feeling inside versus what you're seeing and feeling right then and there.
Yeah, y'all got to work on y'all spider senses a little bit more.
And don't feel bad for choosing you. Don't feel bad for choosing you when someone else is making you feel all of those things that inside of your gut knows that is not right.
That's right, because your peace of mind is more important than any drama that you know that will be coming your way behind the shenanigans.
It creates resentment inside of you. By you not dealing with these red flags or dealing with them, it creates resentment. It could be resentment from you going into another relationship, just resenting. Then you have this ideal about men. Oh, all men are no good. All men are dogs because of this one situation that you went through where you were too afraid to address the issues.
Yeah, or we'll have another mad black woman on our hands, or she's crazy. But how did she get crazy?
Bitter. Yeah. She's a bitter black woman. This is a good one right here.
Why is this a good one?
When you don't deal with these consequences, when you don't deal with these red flags, one of the consequences that you could have is a sexually transmitted disease. Because you already know that he's out here. Community, penis, and you're not addressing the issues. And he brings home a gift. And sometimes it's a gift that you can't get rid of.
That's true. And don't forget about the other STD, the sexually transmitted demons.
That too. And that's probably more harder to get rid of than the actual sexually transmitted disease itself.
Ooh, trust me, I'll be saging around myself, look like I'm wrapping myself up in a cocoon. I'll be looking like the butterfly, all tucked in here. Like, every night I say, we're not going to let the devil win. We ain't going to let the devil win. No, sirree.
Can you say it? Community, yum, yum, your old pipes. I cannot. Okay, I want to play this clip really quick. Kenya, that is so funny. I'm gonna play this clip. This is from Derek Jack's wife. Oh, yeah. And she talked about, I think we might have mentioned this on the last show too, but I want you guys to hear what she said.
All right, let's get it.
All right, let's go.
What did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. And I spent a lot of time, I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they had met up. So I watched their videos of them having sex. So I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And that is a low point to be. And I'm tearing up a little bit because I hate that I even got to a point where that was a thing, but that it was just that. And so I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I completely lost myself. I became a shell of myself. I tried to imitate their hair, their actions, even sexual things that I had seen him doing with them. I tried to recreate that in our life when we were engaged, and none of it amounted to anything.
If that ain't powerful right there.
Okay, so first, she is a gorgeous black queen. Second, I see what she was trying to do. She was trying to be the front runner of all the women that he was dealing with to show that she is the ultimate warrior queen of them all. And this is why he should pick her, because she's making herself to be all of them wrapped up into one. So if he didn't have, so he wouldn't have to go anywhere because he has the whole total package right there. Why would he need to step out? And again, she's fine. So, and you don't find fine and the dedication that she's putting in to him and for him to show that they just don't make them like that no more.
I feel
Now,
like
now it's a waste because it, like you said, it's scary because now she used all of her talents and all of her resource, everything on some guy that just straight dogged out. She could have saved that for somebody who deserved it,
she's young, so she's in her 30s. And a good thing is that she's in therapy. So she's getting the help that she needs. And I just believe that the next guy that she gets with is going to be the prize. It's going to be the lucky one that gets to benefit from her healing.
Well, I pray for her healing because if she don't, it's going to be hell to pay. She's definitely going to have them walls up.
Yes.
You're talking about 14 feet of concrete. You won't even get through it. She ain't going to be trying to hear nothing. You make one wrong, you breathe wrong. She going, oh, wait, what was that? Who? She might think that you whispering a name or something.
Lisa said, you can't make somebody want you. And you can't. You can perform doing every sexual act you can think of, catering to this person from head to toe, even things that they have told you that they want. But if their heart is not with you and they don't want you, there is nothing you can do. I don't care how many tricks you pull out your bag.
That's right. And don't let it get to the point where somebody has to tell you more than once that they don't want you.
Yeah. I've always said I cannot compete with a woman when the man loves her. If I know he loves her, I'm not even going to lift a finger to do anything. I'm gonna let you go right over there. You cannot compete with love. You can't. Or sometimes even lust. Because in this case, I don't even think he was loving any of these people because it wasn't just one person. It was multiple people.
Well, here, maybe we can clear something up for me because I've heard this a lot of times over my years. I heard a woman say that she was fine with him having sex with another woman, but she wasn't fine if he had loved her. I think knowing that the man loved the other woman was more damaging than him sleeping with her.
I'm leaving either way. You can love her, you can have sex with her. I don't care. Your mind, your heart is not with me. So I would rather you take all that energy and use it over there. So either way, it's not good. And I know they say sometimes for men, it's just an act. The sex is just an act. But if you know that it's just an act for you, but if you know for me that it's something more and you claim to love me, then you're not going to do it. Simple as that. And I feel like if you are doing it, then you don't love me fully. You may love me, but you don't love me fully. Especially if you know the consequences of that. If I told you the consequences of you cheating on me, I find out, I'm out of here. And you do it anyway, you don't love me.
Well, but again, loving you and being in love with you.
The same thing, love and love. Either way, you don't love me. You're not in love with me if you are making those decisions. And it's okay. Just deal with the consequences once it does happen.
Ooh,
Okay, so Lisa said, did I read this?
need some
Lisa,
water. It just got hot in here.
Lisa said it has nothing to do with her. He was going to do what he wanted to do. It's so true. It's true.
Wait a minute. Where's Malia? Because I need to know
She's
what's
not
going
even
on with
on.
this book.
I know. She's not even on here. She's going to have to update
Because this sounds like this right here. Because he had an excuse, and I need to know what's going on with the book.
I know. I'm gonna tell her to get on here next time because I saw her yesterday too. I should have asked her. That's so true, Lisa. Don't blame yourself for somebody else's actions, right? You can't blame yourself because somebody cheated. You didn't put a gun up to their head and make them do the act. They did it with a conscious mind. So don't blame yourself when somebody is doing those things. Especially if it's more than once. One time you be like, oh, okay, well that might have been all right. You ain't mean it.
It could have been a slip up, but it could. I mean, look,
My
I
quote,
came across a lot of crazy women in my life. They drove me not to deal with them anymore. I don't want to talk to you, nothing. And I try to move on, but they just keep trying to hold on. So it could have been a scenario, you know, around that where, oh, he cheated. No, you pushed me to my limit. I told you no, and you just kept doing. And now I just decide, because once a person has said, I don't care, they've left that relationship. They have left that relationship once the I don't care comes in.
so does that give you permission to cheat because you said I don't care and you were too coward enough to say this relationship is over? I don't care anymore. I'm out.
But again, the signs, the red flags, it should have been there anyway. If I'm not paying you no attention, if I'm not coming home, you know that something is definitely wrong. Your intuition is telling you something is wrong.
But is that a reason to end the relationship? Is that a reason for someone to go out and cheat? No, that's a reason to sit down and have a conversation or maybe go to counseling because somebody's not communicating with somebody. Yeah, I notice all of these things, and every time I try to talk to you about them, you got an attitude. I'm being blamed for what's going on. Like at some point, somebody has to be the grown up and say, okay, let's go get counseling or let's just end this thing. Life is too short to be miserable.
Yes, it is.
Miserable. If you don't want to be here, then don't. Because guess what? Somebody else does. I don't know who that somebody else is, but guess what? If you leave, trust me, it's somebody waiting in the wings. Like, they over. Here I come. Trust me.
Oh yeah, they definitely waiting. There is somebody in the trenches. They down there. Somebody is definitely waiting for you to go ahead and make that mistake.
Yes, they were like, I knew it, girl. I got you. Kenya says sometimes people get comfortable with being competitive coupons. Ooh. You know, that's a lot of work.
That's one to think on.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like that's a lot of work. Like, it's so hard to keep up. Like her watching all of these sex videos, was doing something to her mentally. Like you got these visions in your mind. You seeing them doing stuff to this person that loves you and this person that's telling you in the middle of these acts that they love you. It's like, at some point, I got to be like, I'm out. I'm tapping out. I'm not going to keep competing. I'm putting my mouth on stuff that they don't put. Come on.
Look, I need her strength. I need the strength that God gave her to remain humble, peaceful, to remain at ease and not throw them hot grits or whatever it is to kill this brother. She wasn't born with the mad woman, black woman syndrome, I guess.
Which is probably a good thing for her.
Yeah. Because most women that's in jail is because of a man. I forgot what the percentage was, but most women that are in locked up is because of some man. Either they tried to kill him or they killed him, or, a fight with the girl and something happened or whatever. It's all because of a man.
It's not worth that. It's so not worth that.
And there's so many fish out there in the sea.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. As
I
the
know,
old
'cause we can
saying,
do.
right, we're right there. The old saying is they like buses. One come every 20 minutes. If you stay out there long enough, I guarantee you one gonna come back.
That's right. And actually, there's always, when you think you got the one, there's always something better.
And not that you're searching, because you want to nurture what you have. But if what I'm having is out there nurturing everybody else, then why am I here?
Right. Well, I'm talking about the busing.
Apparently, I am not what you want. And some people were saying, Rizal, that he wanted, because the women he was cheating with was the totally opposite of her. So some people were saying he wanted the wholesome girl at home, but then he was cheating with these wretched women. But he wanted this wholesome woman, for his image. But then you out here messing up this, what you have at home.
I'm going to give the game away. Just this one time real quick. It's always said that a man has three women. He has the wholesome girl that's at home, that's the wife. He has the mistress who's down to do whatever. And then he got the hood rat. You got to keep those three ones in rotation.
Is that true?
So the ones that he was, the one, look, I don't even have to be there to know how Earl's face is looking right now. But I'm telling you.
Earl said he ain't got time for all that. He said that's for young men, for young guys.
Earl, exactly. Earl, stand down, Earl. Just, but I'm telling you, from just listening and watching the guy, that's what the rotation is. They need those three. So you get one with a little this, one with a little that, and one with a little this.
Is it impossible to find a woman that has all of that wrapped up into one?
It's not impossible, but the majority of them are already taken. Okay. That's why you get them lurkers, because they waiting for you to mess up because you have what they want.
Or you think you want until you get it. If you see what this ninja is putting me through, you think, okay, he just all of a sudden stop when I get him. No, he gonna magnify that because he know that you already know what he's like. The other woman that he was with, she probably didn't know. She learning as she go, but you know because you creeping with him on the side, so you already know how you get down.
But again, the way that the women are now and how society has made it, that it's okay to be second. It's okay to be the side chick. The side chicks is winning these days or whatever. You get more and more of them coming out. They don't care. Man, woman, what if they don't care?
Look at Queen Camilla. She was the side chick through Diana and Charles's whole marriage. Sat on the side the whole time, and now she queen. She like, I know all the side chicks is like, yeah, we winning right now. You just have to hang in there. You hang in there long enough, you'll win.
That's it.
Lisa said
she put them on layaway.
Lisa said, if you don't want me, don't talk to me. Go ahead and free yourself.
But you're not going to know, Lisa. You're not going to know.
Free yourself. Why?
Free your mind.
Yes. The rest will follow. Just go away. Kenya said, I'm not fighting for nobody to love me. And I totally agree. Why? She's giving you a high five, Lisa. Exactly. No. And you don't have to fight for nobody. If that person loves you, then you're not gonna, you're not fighting another person for them. You shouldn't have to. If they love you and they respect you, they're not gonna have you going through that.
Right.
They're going to let you know that your position with them is solidified. And that, yeah, those are people out here that's trying to get here. But guess what? This is your position. They're not going to put you in a position to disrespect you or have these women looking at you, knowing that you was just with them last night. And then the women be so bold as to be in your inbox talking to you about what's oh, so you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, so that's why I got him.
Ooh, and then they just bring the drama. I was with him last night. How do my taste and all this other stuff? And now you got drama on your hands. No, no, no.
Yeah. I'm telling you how your house look. Oh, I was in your house while you was on vacation with the kids. And yep, I slept in your bed and this is how it looks.
Yeah. Well, that's their move for the number one position, trying to release her.
Why would you want to be okay? So if you get in a number one position, that means your spot opens up. So that means somebody else has to be in your spot.
Now it's the rotation. So now you will move from the mistress to being the wife. Now the hood rat will move to being the mistress. It's a rotation. And then being that one and dropped off. So now we got to go search for a new hood rat.
All while I feel like you dealing with this, you're missing out on maybe a meaningful relationship that you could be having with somebody else while you sitting here babysitting and putting up with all of this.
Right. I mean, obviously there's something missing, some type of characteristic that's missing from that woman that you have to find in another woman. And like I said, it's scarce out here to have the whole package of what a lot of these men, what they want. Instead of wanting it, growing to it. Hey, babe, can you do this? Or, how about we do that? Or you into, they want them already self-made. And being they're not made, then it was like, well, look, this dude over here doing this for me. And then comes the comparison. My ex, and I know we talked about that in this whole thing. They talk about their ex come up and how ex used to do this and do that. And you make me feel like I can't live up to your ex. You need to go back to your ex then. Exit right.
What did Kenya say? But if you tell me all that you just showed me, what type of person you were, you are a dog that lay down with fleas. You are a dog that lay down with fleas.
Yeah, maybe, but guess what? I'm going to be a scratching happy dog laying there because guess what? Can nobody tell me I was in that thing? Yeah. You just gonna be a happy dog with fleas. That's it. Oh, dirty dog.
Ooh,
Atomic dog. Atomic dog.
Lisa said a mutt. Oh my goodness, y'all are so funny. Okay, Rizal, so since we have to wrap this up, talking about ignoring red flags and you are suffering the consequences because you're ignoring them. So why do you feel, Rizal, that people ignore red flags?
I think they ignore red flags because they feel as though that we stated that they can turn this person around, that they can change them to be a better person for them and not for the person to be better for themselves. And a lot of times, we do need a little fine tuning is what I call it, because you're the person that's on the inside. You don't see what the person see on the outside. Even if you're sitting there right now, you can see Earl, you can see everybody around you, but you can't see yourself. Just like I can now see myself because I'm looking at myself right here on this screen, but seeing me, having a whole, but I can't do that. So it's best sometimes to get advice from people who can really see you. So you can't ignore those red flags because you may be doing it to yourself. You may be hurting yourself.
I agree. I think that people ignore red flags, like you said, because there's something inside of them is lacking. And so when you see these things happening, and you feel in your gut that something is wrong and you're not addressing them, that says a whole lot about you. And it brings us back to that scarcity mindset. You feel like, oh, nobody else is going to want me. Oh, this is my last chance at love. Oh, this person is treating me so good, which they're probably love bombing you from the beginning. And you feel like this is it for me. And you put all into this person. And then sometimes you're left with those mental issues, that low self-esteem, isolation, now you distrust people all because of this one person, but all because you didn't address those red flags.
And you built him up for the next woman. You built him up for the mistress.
Really, Rizal. Okay, we have to wrap this up and close. Was those your words of wisdom, or do you have any words of wisdom, Rizal?
That was my words of wisdom. And before I go, we forgot, congratulations to all the graduates of 2023 out there.
Yes. Congratulations. Enjoy y'all next level. All right, you guys. I will leave y'all with these words of wisdom. Don't blame the clown for acting like a clown. Ask yourself why you keep going to the circus. All right, you guys, don't go anywhere. Coming up at 7 p.m. on Intellectual Radio is The People Show with Mark Wallace and Charles Thomas. Join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell. Co-hosting with me today is none other than Rizal Gilmore, a.k.a. The Biz. Warriors Talk is changing lives, one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.